Spider-Man becomes first pandemic-era film to surpass $1 billion globally. Good Lord, who could have seen this coming? Spider-Man No Way Home became the first pandemic-era movie to eclipse $1 billion in global box office sales with another strong showing over Christmas weekend. The Sony and Marvel, mostly Sony, flick pulled in an estimated $81.5 million over the three-day weekend, ahead of Universal's Sing 2 and Warner Brothers' The Matrix Erectile Dysfunction, which in the same period netted $23.8 million and $12 million, respectively. Yeah, Matrix, huh? In just 12 days, Spider-Man grossed $467 million from North American theaters and $587.1 million in overseas markets for a total of $1.05 billion globally. Oh, yeah. Spider-Man does whatever a spider can, and apparently spiders can make $1 billion. So the superhero movie is the first to reach the $1 billion in milestone since 2019's Star Wars: The Collapse of Skywalker. Spider-Man accomplished this feat despite not playing in the critical Chinese market and the threat of COVID-19 Omicron variant. Yeah, see, you don't really need the Chinese market, do you? So you can stop bending the knee to the communists in Beijing. You don't need them. So the pandemic is taking its toll on the movie industry. Well, yeah, somewhat, but now it's just an excuse that Spider-Man has shattered. So you can't use that excuse anymore. But anyway, as reflected by the annual box office sales, with 2021 coming to a close, and good riddance, the North American box office is currently sitting at $4.3 billion and is likely to net out around $4.4 billion. Wow, one more. But pre-pandemic, it was normal for a year's box office to surpass $11 billion. Yeah. Well, sure, it's something to be said overall, but it's not really that much of an excuse. No, it really isn't. Yeah, especially with, football games and all that. So there's an audience out there to come to the theaters and watch your movies. You just aren't making very good movies. But this one was, and that's what makes all the difference. Hey, Doc Strange, does my butt really look better than Brie Larson's? I'm not going to answer that, Peter. So anyway, there we go. No surprise, really. Spider-Man is $1 billion man. Yeah. So for a while there, it was said that's it. The $1 billion era was over. But was it? Well, apparently not. You just have to make a decent movie. Spider-Man wasn't perfect. There's problems, and as you go forward, you kind of wonder, wait a minute, nobody remembers, that thing? Well, okay, spoilers. Nobody remembers Peter Parker. Now, I got it that nobody remembers Peter Parker is Spider-Man. The idea that Peter Parker just ceases to exist as far as anyone's mindset, that's silly. That's almost as bad as the blip, which is pretty damn bad. I thought it was just nobody remembers he was Spider-Man. And you think about it, it doesn't quite work in some ways. I mean, Happy doesn't remember he was Spider-Man. I mean, was Peter Parker still an intern for Tony Stark? Tony Stark's dead, so does it count? Does he have to have never known Spider-Man was? Because how does that work? Because he recruited him for, the Avengers and the Civil War and all that. So, yeah, I don't know. But probably a lot easier to figure out than that stupid blip thing, which, boy, they didn't plan that well, did they? No, they sure didn't. And just treating it like a tee-hee joke and stuff. No. and using it as a motivation for mass murder, like in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Oh, God, was that just awful? Yeah. Yeah, I know she tried to murder you, but you got to do better. Yeah, that's no. So you've had a lot of failures on Marvel in the past year, and you can't blame COVID. You really can't. But here comes Spider-Man, which is mostly a Sony movie. Yeah. Now, granted, it's the concept and everything, because that's what drew me in. You know, all the old Spider-Men are going to be in it. And I mean, I know it was a secret. Come on. You knew they were going to be there. And the old villains and all that stuff. And, oh, well, that's interesting. Yeah, it's cool. And they beat DC at their own game yet again. I mean, they kept stumbling around with that Flash movie. And Marvel beats them again, even though DC Comics wrote the book on the multiverse, you know? Oddly enough, with the Flash of Two Worlds. Yeah, but, you know, leave it to DC to always figure out a way to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. So there you go. But, you know, you sat around and I don't know what to do. And then, you know, Marvel beat you again. Well, okay, Sony, but nevertheless, it's Spider-Man, so, you know. So, boy, what does the future hold? And boy, I tell you, Andrew Garfield really got some justice there because, you know, his Spider-Man movies weren't that great, especially the second one. And yet, boy, you know, what a great performance for him. So now he's like, hey, Sony could just do another Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie and the MCU can have their Spider-Man, you know? So it can be like there's a Spider-Man movie every year. Just one's Tom Holland, the next year it's Andrew, something like that. Of course, Andrew could be the Spider-Man of their Venom verse, you know, because Morbius, and then by the trailer, you know, he acknowledges there's a Venom and all that. And then, of course, then there's Michael Keaton. My God, that man is everywhere now. Yeah, boy, is he really skipping through the multiverse, isn't he? In both DC and the MCU. Yeah. Well, anywho. There you go. Congratulations, Spider-Man. And it deserves it. Yeah, you know, because I did not like the MCU Spider-Man. But I liked him in this one. So, yes, the concept, multiverse, and all that intrigued me and brought me in. But I got to say, Tom Holland really did a good job in this one. Didn't really care for the others. Still don't. But what an intriguing thing it is laid forth for the next trilogy coming, which they've already signed up for. So there you go. But that Andrew Garfield thing, that's something interesting. It'll probably fizzle, but there again, you know, I mean, he could just be the Spider-Man for Venom and Morbius and stuff, you know? How about that? Anywho, there you go. $1 billion Spider-Man. Thanks for watching and listening. Say, while you're still here, why not like and subscribe and share with your many friends? Yes. Also, check out my mini stores in the link description below. Yes, where you can get t-shirts, hats, mugs, all those goodies with my artwork on them. Oh, yeah. And head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book, Night Night. Oh, yeah. You can also catch me at my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, on RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on BitChute.com and now on Rumble.com. Oh, my goodness. So many places to watch me and my stuff. Oh, yeah. And if that's not enough for you, well, you can follow me on many social media platforms and say hi to your old pal, Mr. Nailsin.